Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be creating JoJo centerpieces. So let's go ahead and start. In Design Space, we're going to click on Images and we're going to click on what we're looking for. And JoJo and bow. And we're going to click on this image, click on these two images. And once you click on the images you'll be using, we're going to go ahead and insert images. Once on the canvas, let's just go ahead and we're going to start sizing them, but this is the one with the ice cream. Both centerpieces will be the size 6.75 by 9.25. That's the limit for print and cut right here on Design Space. So let's just go ahead and do that. And we're going to do this same technique with the other image. Let's just go ahead and click on this one. When you click on the image on your right hand side, you unlock and then you go ahead and type in your size, 9.25. And I found these images in Google, and then what I did was I uploaded them to Design Space. Click on the next one, unlock, 6.75 by 9.25, and now for the bow will be width is 9.25 by 6, and we close it, and let's wait for that. And let me zoom out so you guys can see it. This image was hard to find the other way around. Okay, once you do that, let's go ahead and set them aside because I need the names for the centerpieces as well. But let me show you guys what's going on here. Let me type in the first name. You go on text on your left hand side, you type in the name. With the name clicked, you go ahead and go to the font, and we're going to change it. Select the font you'll be using. I'm using Radiant, which I found on defont.com, and I installed it and automatically it went on the Design Space. Click on it. Want this name to be like together. Oh wait, is letter space, I'm sorry. So if I do this, right, if I do this, let's say I want it just like this, but then when I cut it in my machine, it's going to be a little bit flimsy. I just want a nice background. So Design Space, they took away when you can go ahead and add a background, an offset, or an outline, if you want to call it. So it's much harder now to do. We used to, like, an example, make a screenshot and then upload it. Instead of a print and cut, we uploaded a cut, but it wasn't aligning. I can still do that, but when I do that, it's not aligning the way I want. So what I do is use another program called Inkscape, and I'm going to show you real quick how to do it. It's really simple. If you just follow step by step, I assure you, you will get it right. Inkscape is a free program. You don't need no credit card. You don't need to put no information. I think just your email or something like that. But it's pretty simple. It's no more than 20 steps. Let's say it that way. Leave this as is because we're going to come back to it. Go ahead and we're going to go to our Inkscape. Oh, wait, it's right here. When you open Inkscape, you're going to see all this right here. It's overwhelming. But like I said, if you follow the steps, you will not get lost. If we're doing one thing, you don't need to go over here on your left hand side and say, oh, but what's this for? Because that's not what we're using it for. At your time, you can go ahead and read about it. It's really simple. What we need is go straight forward, and that's it. Now, for the outline or the offset for our text, our names, we're going to go ahead and On your left-hand side right here, I always use the left-hand side, and I always use this part right here. I just started using this maybe 2-3 months ago, ever since Design Space was not allowing for the offset, or it's kind of difficult with Design Space. I hardly use this part over here. I'll go straight to what I want to do, and that's it. Okay, let's go ahead real quick. Right here on your left hand side, if you put your cursor on top of each object, you'll see what it is about. Create and edit text objects. We're going to click on it, right? Click on here. We're going to add the name. Is Jasidi. Oh, I moved my cursor right here. Okay, let me zoom in because it's 35%. Right here on your right hand side, you can put 100% to zoom it in, or you can go right here and you can zoom in like this, whichever you prefer. And then if you click on it, it'll keep zooming in. Okay, so what we need to do is go back up here, your selector tool, click on the selector tool so you can release that magnifier. Okay, we have the name. Now we're going to go back and select the font, which is, where's my font? Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Go back to the text, and when you double click, your font settings will come out right here, all right here. Now, I already know the one I'm using. It's Radiant, but if you don't know or you want to browse around, you can go ahead and click on this drop down arrow, and it'll give you all your fonts. Whatever font you have. Yes, I'm a font. Yeah, I have a lot of them. So let's just go ahead. I'm going to type it in because that's the one I want to use. Radiant. And it'll change automatically that one. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and go to our selector tool so we can release that text. Like, we don't want to keep clicking or be moving it around. So we're just going to select it. Now you can move it around with no problems. Now let's prepare this text. With the text clicked on, we're going to go ahead and click on Path. Object to Path. We're going to go back to Object, and we're going to click on Ungroup. When you do that, it's releasing the text to have all these letters by themselves. Now, doing this, it's preparing this text. All these steps is to prepare the text to be an SVG. Okay, now we're going to go back to Path, Union. Union is like a weld in Design Space. We go to Union, we go back to Path, a linked offset. Now, right here, when you put your cursor on your text, it turns red because the offset is already there. Let me show you. Go ahead and select this diamond, and you start moving it around until you reach your desired size. And let's right there. Now, we move that diamond, to your desired size, your dimension, however you want it. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to fill in. Let me show you guys. Go back to the selector tool and just move it away. It's right here. Okay. Now, you see these white little spaces? Whatever white space you have, I'm going to change the color so you guys can see it. Let me go. If you select your text and you go down here, click on red, and you place it on the top, right there, that's the size I want it. I like it. Okay, just move it back where it was. Now, this has this white little dots right here, this white space. So we're going to go ahead, let me change the color, see if you guys can see it better right there. Now, to fill in those spaces, we're going to go ahead and click on the actual shadow, offset, outline. Click on Path, Object to Path, and it'll create some nodes, right? With that, what I'm saying is node, you go here in nodes, And then we're going to go ahead and select the ones you don't want, which is the white spot. Okay, we're going to go ahead and select those openings, which is this one right here. We're going to click on it, or you can just go ahead and highlight it and delete. Highlight, delete, and we're going to highlight, delete. And that's it. Once you're done, you don't have to move the outside or delete the outside part, because these little nodes are the ones that tell Cricut, well, Design Space, where to cut. Wait, I'm missing these right here. I almost forgot these. This has a space right here. Yeah. Okay, that should be fine. Okay, now, once you do that, we're going to go ahead and select. It's very important that you select your what do you call that thing again? Oh my goodness, guys, I'm so sorry because I haven't used this that much. I forgot. Your selector tool. This little arrow, you have to select it, because if you don't, if you leave it on the edit your path by those little nodes, it'll just go ahead and remove some nodes that you don't want it to remove. Then you have to undo it and go back and do it again. So to avoid that, just select this arrow, which is the selector tool. Once you do that, now we're going to go ahead and take your name. Before you drag the name on the shadow, let's go ahead and change it back to black. I just wanted to show you guys to see if there was no openings. With the black part, I wasn't able to see it well. So now let's get your name, and just right here. It'll be hard to, a little bit difficult to go ahead and center it, right? Don't worry about that. What we're going to do is you're going to highlight both of these images, and you'll see two boxes. Why? Because they're not grouped, they're not well together. So you're going to see this box right here in the front part. We're going to go ahead and go to Object, Align and Distribute. And once you do that, you're going to go right here on this little box that just opened. Select the third box, which is Center on Vertical Axis. I don't know how to pronounce it, but you get it. You click on that one. Then go to the bottom layer and click on the one right underneath, which is horizontal. And we click on it. We clicked on both. It should. It didn't do anything. Let's go back. Okay, guys, I did something wrong. It didn't move. Let's go ahead and X out of it, because it was supposed to center it. Because it's very difficult for us to center it from here. Because you can still center it when you get to Design Space, but I wanted to guide you guys to see it. Let's go take it to Design Space. I wonder what happened. Okay, let's go ahead and highlight the entire image. Go ahead, let's go to File, Save As, and I'm going to save it to my downloads, and I'm going to name it, I'm just going to put the name that we're using, Jasidi, and we're going to select Plain SVG, and we're going to go ahead and save it. Now there's another name, which is Arial. We're going to follow the same technique, and we're going to have both names to go on the centerpieces. Let's go ahead back to Design Space. Now, let's click on Upload, Upload Image, Browse, and we're going to look for that name. Click on Downloads, and let's type in the first name, the name that first letters. Comes up, and I just saw it right here. Okay, double click, let's bring it in. There you go. Now, let's go ahead and save it. Click on that image and insert images. Where's my image? somewhere here. Duh, come on. If that happens, just click on cancel. I don't see the image. Okay, it's small. Right here, when I clicked on the name, it's tiny. So let's do, because I'm not going to go all around the canvas. It's right there. Looking for the name. Okay. Let's go ahead and size it to an 8 and 3 the height. We're going to lock it. Let's go ahead with the image clicked on. We're going to go ahead and ungroup it. And right here. Or you can just go ahead and highlight the entire image, align, and center. And that's it. I wonder what happened in Inkscape that it did not align it. I'll check on it later, see, maybe I missed something. But that's it. You're going to go ahead and highlight the entire image. You can group it. And then I want the first layer to be pink, which is almost the same, that hot pink that it's on the rainbow. That's on the rainbow. Let's go ahead and click on that hot pink. It's more like a purple. Okay, that's more the color I want. And then the actual outline will be white. Oh. That pink, why is it doing that? Okay, that pink, it's way too pinky. Okay, that's better. Okay, once we do that, the other name, I already had done it, so let's bring it in, which is right here. And we're gonna size it. And we're gonna change the colors. Back one will be white, and the top layer will be that hot pink. Let's check on these images. A3, A3, and these are fine. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide the print and cut because I like to cut these first. Let's go ahead and click on make. Before we click on make it, we're going to go ahead and select the machine you'll be using, which is the Cricut. We're going to click on make it, and I need 3 of each. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on apply. And I'll be using 8.5 by 11. It's glittered white cardstock. And then this one, the pink one, will be also glittered cardstock, but it's 8.5 by 11. Or, you know what? I'm going to use a 12 by 12. I don't have 12 by 12 white glittered, but I have the pink 12 by 12. So I'm going to click on this mat, click on one of the names, click on the 3 little dots, move to another mat. We're going to move it to one of this mat right here, because that way I can save on cardstock. Click on the next mat, 3 little dots, move to another mat, move to this mat, click on here, and I'm going to put it this way so the J can be right in the bottom. And I'm going to move this a little bit here. Okay. Let me check if it's not touching. That is just fine. We're going to go ahead and click on continue. Once you click on continue, click on the one you're going to start cutting. You're going to go ahead and place your glittered cardstock on your mat. We're going to go ahead and select poster board, because what I use is 100-pound glittered cardstock. But if I choose a 100-pound cardstock, even if I choose the heavy one, it's not going to cut. I'll just choose poster board on both and it'll cut all the way. Even if I change the blade, I don't know, for some reason it does not cut. So I click on poster board and I'm going to go ahead and load my mat to my machine. Once we cut all of these, we're going to go ahead and click on cancel, click on yes to cancel. It's going to take you back to the previous screen, which is where you prepare your mat. We're going to click on cancel so we can take you back to your canvas. We're going to go ahead and hide. Clicking on the eye will hide your images. Unclick the eye and it will bring back your images. Now these images will be print and cut. We're going to go ahead and select on make it. And I need 1, 2. This is the mirrored image. So it's 3 centerpieces. Let's go ahead and click on continue. And when I send to the printer, this is where I choose my copies. I need 3 of each, so I'm going to go ahead and click on 3, print. This one, again, you click on 3, and I forgot to mention, you select your printer. Whatever printer you're using, you select that one. Click on print. Okay, now that remains the same to add bleed. And once you print each one, same technique, same steps. We're going to go ahead and select poster board. If you missed, oh my God, I forgot to print an example. You forgot to print this one, the bow. You go ahead, go back, bow, go back to print, follow the steps, and remember to choose the one you're printing, because if you're on this one and you loaded your mat for your first print, it's going to cut whatever is selected. So make sure you have that. Load your mat to your machine, start cutting. Once you cut all of this, I'll see you back at the table so we can start assembling the centerpiece. Okay, now that we're back at the table, let's go ahead and start. I have the cutouts, which is the front part, the back part. I have the name, and I have the actual image front and back. I have my dowel rods. I have floral foam. I have my base, and I have my bling. Just set that aside. What I do first is go ahead and attach the bling onto your base right at the top. Add some glue, hot glue, onto the surface, right where you're going to apply the bling. And just go all around the top of your base. Once you get to the other side, we're just going to go ahead and cut it. Now we have the base. And now what I do is grab my foam, my floral foam. And the floral foam is 4.5 inches in height. But I'm going to cut a little bit because it's going to be too high. So I'm just going to cut a piece of it. And let's see, better. Just going to add a whole bunch of glue and place it back inside. Okay, we're done with that, and we're going to go ahead and place it inside. Okay, that's done. Now we're going to go ahead and grab decorative shred paper. And this one is in pink. We're just going to fill it in. Let's just go ahead and set it aside so we can put together the rest. Okay, now you take your first part, and this is your second. Let's try it out first. Measure it first, and then that's the way you want. We take our dowel rod, apply glue right in the middle, and place your dowel rod. Just set that aside to dry. Let's grab the next one. And it all depends the height. I'm just going to leave the 12-inch dowel rod, and then I'll cut as I go. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply the dowel rod on here, the glue, and then the dowel rod. I'm just going to leave it a little bit just like that. Okay, we have that, and the bowl is dry. Yep, is dry. So we can go ahead and start applying the back part. Okay, we can measure it first before applying the glue. Okay, and now you can start applying the glue all around. Since this is a small image, I go ahead and apply the glue at once on one side, and then go ahead and make your way all around your bow. Okay, you have the first one. Now let's grab the second one. And it's pretty much the same technique. Okay, we have the second cut out. Now let's go ahead and grab the name. Now for the name, what I did was, since the name cannot be mirrored, because if you mirror the name, it'll come out backwards. Unless you put another dowel rod and put it the other way around, I'm not going to do all that. So I have the first base of the name. Okay, now I'm going to start gluing. Okay, now that you have your name, what I did is for the back part, what I did was I made another cutout, but with pink foily paper. It's thin. So what I did was I want to place it here, but then I'm going to first place the dowel rod right in between the S, well, maybe right on the S, which is here. And then go ahead and place the paper right on top. picture. Okay, now for the assembly of the centerpiece, it's going to be difficult to see, so I'm going to have to put the camera in a different angle. So bear with me for a minute so I can move the camera to a different angle. Okay, I moved the camera to a different angle. Maybe that will work. Okay, now you just get your name piece. It's still not. And we stick it in here. Okay, that's much better. Okay, and then you get your second piece. And we place it right here in the middle. And this one goes all the way down. And then you take your bow, and the bow goes on this side. But it goes on sideways. I want this part of the bow going below this part of the nape. Okay, let me grab my handy dandy tool, which I use to cut the dowel rods. I'm just going to cut maybe 2 inches of the dowel rod. And just go ahead and place it back where it was. You can even put it lower. Okay, thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. And as usual, happy crafting.